Do you know the sailing lingo?
Boating vocabulary can be so overwhelming. That's why today we are going to go over the basic boat terms. This is the hull!
That's the hull. This is the bow.
This is the stern!
This is the port side.
And this is starboard.
Now, port and starboard are always the same, no matter which direction of travel. Forward, backwards, doesn't matter. If you go to the port side of the boat or you're turning port, it's always the same. It's always oriented from the bows of the boat.
And now let's take a look at what each hull is made up of.
Now, the hull is made up of a couple of parts. Most obviously, the water line. So everything from the water line to the deck is called the freeboard. Now, as we move further back, we get to the keels. All sailing boats have keels. On catamarans, we have what's called a mini keel. Now, from the water line to the bottom of the keel is our draft. We have a 4.5-foot draft on our boat.
And that means we can't go into water any shallower than 4.5 feet. Otherwise, we hit the bottom. Ah!
So in addition to bow and stern, we have also forward and aft. So as we come to the aft, which you can remember because it sounds like ass, as we come to the aft of the boat, we come to the sail drive and the propeller and the rudder. Now, not all boats have sail drives. The only other option is what's called a shaft drive, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a shaft coming out of the bottom of the boat that then attaches to the propeller.
That's a really big shaft drive.
That's what she said. All right, now that we're at the aft or stern of the boat, we have what is called the transom. That is the term for the entire back of the boat.
So are you telling me that aft, stern, and transom all mean the same thing?
No. Aft is direction, stern is like the back, or also direction, and transom is like literally the back.
I could say that I am aft on the boat, that something is astern from the boat, and that I am on the transom.
Yes. Yes.
There we go.
Another way to think about it is I'm moving aft, I'm at the stern, and now I am on the transom. I hope that clears things up. And now that we're aboard, the transom has magically changed into sugar scoops. Yes, that happens. Now, moving into the cockpit, we come to the starboard helm station. Now, because we're a catamaran, and even some of the wider monohulls nowadays are coming with dual helm stations. This is the starboard. And therefore, the other one is the port. Yeah, glad you're paying attention. So at the helm station, we have various controls, such as throttles, the wheel, our engines, the chart plotter, the compass. Also in the cockpit, we have our dinghy. Now, the dinghy is attached to the boat with dinghy davits. The davits are then connected to the arch. And covering the cockpit is what's called the targa. We don't have a Dodger, we don't have a Bimini, we have a targa. So moving out of the cockpit, we then go on the deck. Now that we're on the deck, we have a couple of other terms. There's outboard and inboard. Pretty simple. So moving from outboard in, we have the lifelines, which are connected to the stanchions, which are then connected to the deck. Now, lifelines, don't bet your life on them. You will fall overboard because they will break, and then you will die, and everyone will be sad. What you can bet your life on are these. This is a jack line. Jack lines move on the deck all the way forward. That's what you hook into, not the lifelines. So before moving forward, we need to clear something up. This is a sheet, this is a halyard, this is a line, and this is a rope. I'm glad we cleared that up. Well, maybe we haven't cleared that up. Let's get technical for a second. This is a rope. A rope is a piece of material that has no job. This is a line. This is a piece of material that actually has a job. This is a sheet. This is a piece of material that has a job, and that job is to make things move side to side. This is a halyard. This is a piece of material that has a job and makes things go up and down. Now you know.
To make it even more confusing, all three of these, line, halyard, and sheet, are all considered lines, while as this is just a rope. It has no job. These are all lines, even though they might be sheets and halyards as well, because they have a job. Never, ever call a line a rope on a boat. It's a big no-no. We want to interrupt and say thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Special shout out to our patrons.
Especially our awesome patrons.
Patrons and subscribers keep this mission going.
Yes,
so
they do.
We'll see you guys over there.
Thank you. Now that we're on the deck, there's some deck equipment we need to talk about. This is a clutch. Lines go through clutches to stop them from moving. Like these. These are all of our control lines. This is also called the running rigging. Now then we have these. These are not pulleys. These are blocks, such as this. This is also a block. Lines go through blocks. And these are winches. These are not the kind you find in a bar, although you can probably get them cheaper in the bar. So now we are on the deck. That's the aft deck. This is the foredeck, because it's forward on the boat, and that's aft on the boat. You see how these things just make sense now. So on the deck, we have various storage compartments, although they're not called storage compartments, they're called lockers. Because, and this is crucial, they lock. Every storage cubby on the deck is a locker. Some lockers are more important than others. This is the anchor locker. Now, the anchor isn't actually stored in the anchor locker. All the anchor chain is stored in the anchor locker. But we do have this big old hunk of piece of metal right here. This is called the windlass. The windlass takes all the chain out of the anchor locker, down through the chute, and into the water.
Of course, there's no water right now while we're sitting in the boatyard, so keep an open mind and imagination.
It's also very important that when you're done with the locker, to close them. Or some crew may fall in them. Ask me how I know.
The bow is my favorite place on the whole boat. Up here, we have the headsail, which is also known as the jib. We have a dolphin striker, which holds up the front part of the boat. We have a bowsprit. Attached to the bowsprit is our continuous furler, which furls out our screecher sail. If you guys are interested in the screecher and the continuous furler details, check out that video. Link in description below. All right, so our boat's a little different. This is an AstroTurf, but below the AstroTurf is a trampoline. The trampoline is not a jumping trampoline. This trampoline is a mesh fabric that keeps the boat light, so it performs and it glides through the water nicely. As a side note, we have AstroTurf for Winston. It's all part of having a boat dog.
The foredeck on a catamaran is also referred to as the bridge deck because it bridges the two hulls together. I know. Where do they come up with these terms?
Welcome to the bridge, Mr. LaForge.
All right, so we talked briefly about the running rigging. That's all the ropes that are on the deck.
We don't say rope, we say lines.
I'm glad someone was paying attention. They all feed up into the mast, which is then connected with the boom. And that's what holds our sail. From the deck, the mast is connected with the boom. The blue thing off the boom is the sail bag. The gray things attached to the sail bag are the lazy jacks. That holds up the sail bag. Moving further up, the stays are attached to the spreaders. Those are those metal arm bits that are moving backwards from the mast. The white domey thing in front is the radar. Moving further up the mast, we have another couple pieces of equipment. The black thing is the steaming light. The white trash can looking thing at the top is a radar reflector. So that helps other boats see us whenever they have their radar on. At the top of the mast, we have a couple pieces of technical equipment. On the left is the anemometer and the windex. The anemometer measures the wind speed and the windex measures wind direction. On the right is our mast light. We use that whenever we're at anchor. The weird bird looking thing is our GPS locator. And the antenna whip at the top is our VHF antenna.
You may be interested in learning all the interior boat terms, but we are going to include those in our boat tour video. So go ahead, subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss that video.